Chapter 2989. Is it possible? What to do now? Who should she turn to? Northern Feng General and the two principals were too difficult to get hold of, nor was she qualified to see them. She could only go to her aunt for help. Her aunt was the most senior elder in the military academy. Elder Dongfang had always been trying to get the crown prince and Dongfang Ziyun together. At that thought, Dongfang Ziyun rushed toward her aunt's residence. The castle was divided into two wings, and the military academy had the left wing, which was the better side. The setup of the right wing was slightly inferior. Dongfang Ziyun ran all the way from the right wing to the left. The fortress had an area of 25 square kilometers, and the houses were set quite far apart. Dongfang Ziyun rushed into the courtyard. Elder Dongfang was at a critical moment in her cultivation and wouldn't see anyone. Dongfang Ziyun was stopped at the door. "Miss Ziyun, I'm sorry, but Elder Dongfang is cultivating now, and no one can disturb her," said Shualan, the elder's maid. "When will my aunt come out?" Dongfang Ziyun stomped her foot. "I can't say for sure." Shualan frowned. Elder Dongfang seldom goes into seclusion, and she may make a breakthrough this time. She mustn't be disturbed. If she succeeds, she'll be more capable than the most senior elder of the military academy. "Miss Dongfang, please wait here." Shualan stressed how important it was. Dongfang Ziyun was so frustrated. Shualan looked at her in bewilderment. She knew Miss Dongfang was a mediocre cultivator, but was very talented in the medical field. She was already a supreme-level medicine refiner, and even His Majesty had complimented her for that. Miss Dongfang was usually a calm and nonchalant person. Why was she so restless today? Dongfang Ziyun said, "If my aunt can't help me, I'll do it myself." Meanwhile, Feng Wu was treating Jun Linyuan's wounds. His injuries were so severe that she couldn't find any untouched skin. She knew that with Jun Linyuan's capability, as long as his spiritual essence started circulating properly, his superficial wounds would recover quickly. The internal injury was the tricky part. He had used most of his spiritual essence to protect the enhancement pill in that critical moment. "How's Boss Jun doing?" Feng Sun panicked when he saw Feng Wu sitting there with a blank face. Feng Wu said, "He'll live." Feng Sun said, "So, he'll be fine." Feng Wu gave him a long look. It made Feng Sun uneasy. "What?" Feng Wu sighed. "I'm worried." Feng Sun asked, "About what?" Feng Wu said, "I'm worried he'll be like me." Feng Sun looked confused. Feng Wu only shook her head. "I'm worried about his cultivation." When Zhuo Qingluan destroyed Feng Wu's cultivation ability, there had been no spiritual essence in her body anymore. Only the tiniest amount of spiritual essence had still lingered in her dantian. Jun Linyuan's dantian reminded her of those days. Feng Sun finally realized what she was talking about. His eyes widened and he said nervously, "Are you saying that Boss Jun may lose?" Chapter 2990. Elder Dongfang. Feng Wu nodded. "Yes." Feng Sun paced around the room in frustration. "We can't let that happen." He stared at Feng Wu. "You know Boss Jun is the most talented person in history. He's the future of the Junwo Empire. If he loses his cultivation ability..." Feng Wu said, "I only said it was possible, and that's the worst-case scenario. I don't think he'll be so unlucky." She didn't sound nervous, but she was more worried than anybody else. It was all because of her. If Jun Linyuan hadn't gone to the Zhuo family because of her, things wouldn't have turned out this way. She then thought about Night Owl. What a relentless man. He wanted to blow Jun Linyuan up even if the explosion could kill him, too. Feng Wu had never hated anybody so much. She hated Zhuo Qingluan, but she hated Night Owl even more. She gently dressed Jun Linyuan's wounds and told Feng Sun she needed to make some more pills. One semi-divine enhancement pill wasn't enough. She kept Jun Linyuan company while making the enhancement pills. Luck was on her side this time, and she made 3 pills in one go. Feng Sun stared at her. "That's incredible. You made 3 pills in one night." It had taken Feng Wu days to make the first one, but she was a semi-divine medicine refiner now, so it was much easier to make these pills. She then made the pills into a potion and injected it into Jun Linyuan's body. Just then, they heard hurried footsteps outside. Thump, 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 thump. Somebody knocked on the door repeatedly. Feng Wu was busy treating Jun Linyuan, so Feng Sun went to answer it. He was very displeased. He had told the others not to disturb them, who was defying his order. He opened the door to find Elder Dongfang outside. She was the most senior elder of the military academy. The principals of the two schools hardly ever left their offices, and the actual ruler of the fortress was somebody else. One was Elder Dongfang of the military academy, and the other one was Elder Helian of Imperial College. Dongfang Xiun stood next to Elder Dongfang, who was the head of 36 elders. That was to say, her rank was equivalent to lieutenant general, and Gongshu Hongzhu was a major general. Elder Dongfang frowned at Feng Sun. "Young Lord Feng, I heard His Royal Highness is injured." Feng Sun felt the elder was more intimidating than before. Had she made another breakthrough? Feng Sun nodded. "He is injured, but Feng Wu is treating him now. There's no need to worry." Dongfang Xiun glanced at Feng Sun. His Royal Highness was so badly injured, and people have been saying that he's on the verge of dying. Get out of my way. I have to save His Royal Highness. Feng Sun stared at her and wondered if she couldn't understand what he was saying. He frowned. "His Royal Highness is being treated as we speak. Miss Dongfang, your services won't be necessary." Dongfang Ziyun was dumbfounded. Elder Dongfang turned to Feng Sun. "Ziyun isn't the best doctor, but she's still a supreme-level medicine refiner and the best doctor in this castle. If her services aren't needed, who else can do it?" Chapter 2991, Humiliation 1. Elder Dongfang led the others into the room. Dongfang Ziyun glanced at Feng Sun smugly. If he thought he could stop her, he was very much mistaken. Feng Sun frowned, fearing that Elder Dongfang might disturb Feng Wu. Elder Dongfang walked into the room to find Jun Linyuan's eyes tightly shut. Feng Wu was giving him an injection. Elder Dongfang scolded Feng Wu. "Who are you? What are you doing?" Feng Wu didn't even look at her and only focused on the injection. Her potion needed to be injected at a steady speed and pushed into Jun Linyuan's energy channel with her spiritual essence. Therefore, it would take her a full minute to finish the process. Elder Dongfang was furious when Feng Wu ignored her. She was a spiritual overlord and the ruler of the castle. How dare this girl disrespect her? Something like this hadn't happened in years. "Arrest her!" Elder Dongfang gave the order. She didn't come alone. There were two people behind her. They were only her maids, but they were by no means incompetent fighters. "Stop!" Feng Sun's face darkened. He would do anything to stall them for Feng Wu. He and Xian Yi stepped out to face Elder Dongfang's fury. Elder Dongfang couldn't believe what was happening. She felt offended. "Young Lord Feng, are you defying a direct order?" Elder Dongfang was a lieutenant general. Although Feng Sun was the young lord of the northern Feng mansion, he didn't have as high a military ranking because of his age. His ranking was... Elder Dongfang glanced at his shoulder strap and saw he was only a captain. Feng Sun stood his ground. Even when he saw Elder Dongfang's rage, he still wouldn't move aside. "Elder Dongfang, I don't think you know Boss Jun well," Feng Sun said coldly. "He doesn't like other people shouting in front of him." Shouting? Elder Dongfang was amazed. She was the senior elder of the military academy, and bickering with a teenager was beneath her. She was even more furious now. She said grimly, "You're right. His Royal Highness doesn't like people shouting in his room, so shut up now." Feng Sun wanted to say something, when a maid tied his hands behind his back and stuffed a rag in his mouth. Blue veins popped on his forehead. Xian Yi wanted to fight back, but the other maid tied him up too. Feng Sun was frantic. He mumbled loudly. "This old woman. How dare she tie him up? Boss Jun would teach her a good lesson when he woke up." Feng Sun kept struggling, and the temperature around Xian Yi seemed to drop. They had had enough of Elder Dongfang. Luckily, their efforts weren't for nothing. Feng Wu finished the injection. After dealing with Feng Sun and Xian Yi, Elder Dongfang finally focused on Feng Wu. Chapter 2992, Humiliation, 2. She leaned on her walking stick and glared at Feng Wu. "Tie her up," she said furiously. Feng Wu frowned and raised her head slightly. She finally had time to deal with the newcomers. "No one touches her." Just then, somebody else arrived. It was none other than the senior elder of the Imperial College, Elder Helion. He didn't know Feng Wu, but Elder Wu did. When he realized things were going wrong, he went to fetch Elder Helion. Imperial College and Military Academy were always competing with each other. Elder Helion and Elder Dongfang were in charge of the castle's west and east wing, respectively. Whenever there was a disagreement, they would engage in a fierce argument. When Elder Wu told Elder Helion that Elder Dongfang was picking on an Imperial College student, Elder Helion couldn't take it anymore. He arrived just in time to see what Elder Dongfang was doing. "What is this?" Elder Helion glared at Elder Dongfang. Feng Wu spoke first. "Jun Linyuan is being treated for his injuries. He may deteriorate if he's disturbed." Jun Linyuan. She had just called the Crown Prince by his name. Only His Majesty and Her Majesty, the Empress Dowager, could address him like that, but this girl. Elder Helion was shocked at first, but he reacted quickly and nodded. "That's right. No one can take responsibility if something happens to His Royal Highness. Let's talk outside." Elder Dongfang wouldn't listen to him. Elder Helion smirked. "Will you take responsibility if His Royal Highness's injuries worsen?" Of course Elder Dongfang wouldn't do that. Even her entire sect wouldn't be able to afford the price. Outside. Elder Dongfang glanced at Elder Helion and went out of the room. "Come out." Elder Dongfang glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu frowned and looked at Jun Linyuan for a moment. Jun Linyuan had stabilized temporarily after the injection, but his spiritual essence hadn't started circulating yet. Feng Wu was worried. However, she had to solve the problem at hand, or they would keep disturbing him. She followed the others. Outside. There was Elder Dongfang, Dongfang Ziyun, and the other members of the Military Academy. Elder Helion, Elder Wu, Feng Sun, Xian Yi, and Feng Wu were from the Imperial College. Elder Dongfang immediately pointed at Feng Wu. "Who on earth are you? Are you a medicine refiner? What level are you? Who gave you the right to treat His Royal Highness?" She then turned to Elder Helion. "Ziyun is a supreme-level medicine refiner, and no one in this castle is better than her. These people tried to stop her from treating the Crown Prince. Instead, this girl is doing the job. How's that possible?" Chapter 2993, A Semi-Divine Medicine Refiner. Dongfang Ziyun reminded her aunt about Feng Wu's armband. Elder Dongfang was even angrier. "Look at her armband. She hasn't even graduated from Imperial College yet." She couldn't be any more displeased. She had come all the way here only to argue with a child who hadn't graduated. How humiliating. Elder Dongfang felt she had been played, but she couldn't blame her own niece, so she directed all her rage toward Feng Wu. Elder Helion didn't know who Feng Wu was either. This was the first time he had met her. However, he was happy to see Elder Dongfang so mad. Of course, he didn't let the others see how pleased he was. Instead, he cleared his throat and put on a straight face. "Feng Wu, do you have an explanation?" Feng Wu frowned and didn't beat around the bush. "I'm a semi-divine medicine refiner." What she said almost made other people faint. Ahem. Ha. OMG. Other people reacted with different expressions, but they all thought she was bragging. Elder Dongfang rolled her eyes at Feng Wu. She couldn't believe she had been arguing with an idiot. Even Elder Helion was astonished. He wanted to speak up for his student, but there was no way he would be able to convince the others that Feng Wu was telling the truth. Dongfang Ziyun was much more direct. She looked at Feng Wu as if the latter was an imbecile. She had to take a deep breath before she could speak again. I've never heard such a ridiculous lie. You're a pretty girl. Don't you have any shame at all? Feng Wu was speechless. Elder Dongfang waved at her maids. Get her out of here. She's such a clown. Elder Wu didn't believe Feng Wu was a semi-divine medicine refiner, but the pill Miss Feng Wu gave His Royal Highness was a semi-divine enhancement pill, Elder Wu said affirmatively. Otherwise, Night Owl wouldn't have set off that explosion to stop His Royal Highness from taking the pill. Elder Dongfang frowned. That doesn't prove she made that pill. She then looked at the potion in Feng Wu's hand. What did you inject His Royal Highness with? Medicine could be in the form of pills, potions, and injectable potions. Elder Dongfang had seen the last type because Dongfang Ziyun knew how to perform an injection. Feng Wu said, it's the potion of a semi-divine pill. Elder Dongfang didn't want to talk to her anymore. She glanced at Dongfang. Take a look at the potion. Dongfang Ziyun despised Feng Wu even more. She walked up to Feng Wu and asked for the potion. The potion of a semi-divine pill? Don't you know that is even harder to make than a semi-divine enhancement pill? Chapter 2994. What did you say? She wondered when Feng Wu would stop bragging. She then examined the syringe. She did it right in front of Feng Wu because she thought she could humiliate Feng Wu later. Elder Dongfang glanced at Elder Helion. Helion, is that how you've been teaching your students? Elder Helion blushed. He felt abashed by what Feng Wu said and gave Elder Wu a dirty look. Elder Wu rubbed his nose. He had no idea Feng Wu would say such things. Elder Dongfang was glad to see Elder Helion ill at ease. The elders usually behaved in such an unapproachable way in front of their subordinates, but when they were among their peers, they would show their emotions just like any ordinary people. It wasn't any different from the world that Feng Wu used to live in before coming here. Seeing that Dongfang Ziyun was still examining the potion, Elder Dongfang glanced at Elder Helion and sneered. Helion, if she were my student, I would have kicked her out of the military academy. Imperial College needs to be more strict with their students. Elder Helion blushed. He didn't come all this way to be laughed at because of a girl. He was disappointed in Feng Wu. He wanted to scold Feng Wu and leave this place. However, Elder Dongfang was talking to Dongfang Ziyun now. Ziyun, have you finished? Elder Dongfang frowned. What's taking you so long? What potion is it? Is it an inferior one? At that thought, Elder Dongfang wanted to examine the potion herself. The Crown Prince was involved. Elder Helion was also alarmed. An inferior potion? Was she trying to kill His Royal Highness? He glared at Feng Wu. However, the girl wasn't intimidated at all. Elder Helion suddenly felt frustrated. He was the most senior elder in the Imperial College, and there were 35 elders under him. However, this girl wasn't scared of him at all. Was he too approachable, or were children these days so fearless? Dongfang Ziyun murmured something. Even Elder Dongfang couldn't hear her clearly. What? Speak up. Elder Dongfang frowned. Dongfang Ziyun hated the conclusion she had reached, but she had no choice. It's a semi-divine enhancement liquid. She was jealous of Feng Wu, but she wouldn't lie where her profession was concerned. She respected her profession. What she said shocked everybody. Elder Dongfang almost jumped to her feet. What did you say? Chapter 2995. The Truth. Dongfang Ziyun seemed pale, and she wanted Elder Dongfang to stop talking. She even wanted to drag her aunt away. However, Elder Dongfang was too proud to leave like this. She grabbed Dongfang Ziyun's wrist. What did you say it was? Dongfang Ziyun wished she could disappear. Elder Dongfang was staring at her, so she had to tell the truth. It's a semi-divine enhancement liquid. Her voice still wasn't very loud, but it was loud enough for everybody to hear her. Elder Dongfang was the closest, so she couldn't pretend she couldn't hear her. She glared at Dongfang Ziyun, and Dongfang Ziyun nodded, looking like she was going to cry. Elder Dongfang was speechless. The semi-divine enhancement liquid was much more difficult to make than the pill and potion forms. What a... Elder Dongfang reacted quickly. She stared at Feng Wu and asked slowly, "Where did you get this liquid? Who gave it to you? Was it His Majesty?" That was right. Dongfang Ziyun suddenly felt she could breathe again. No one could say for sure that Feng Wu had made that liquid herself. Feng Wu glanced at Elder Dongfang. "It's mine." Elder Dongfang asked, "What?" Feng Wu said, "I made it myself." Elder Dongfang smirked. "How old are you? Are you a semi-divine medicine refiner? Do you have a certificate? Show us." Feng Wu couldn't show her because she hadn't become a semi-divine medicine refiner until the night before. Seeing that Feng Wu didn't answer her question, Elder Dongfang smirked. In Imperial College, even the elders in charge of medicine refinement aren't semi-divine ones yet. She glanced at Elder Helion. Elder Helion snapped. "Do you have such elders?" Elder Dongfang said, "We don't, and that makes Ziyun a supreme-level medicine refiner, the most senior medicine refiner here." If Feng Wu could prove she was what she claimed to be, Elder Dongfang would be utterly humiliated. Therefore, she was trying her best to prove otherwise. She stared at Feng Wu. "You're not a semi-divine medicine refiner, are you? You've been lying." Feng Wu couldn't stand her anymore. She frowned and waved her off. "Whatever you say." She headed back in. She needed to keep an eye on Jun Linyuan and had no time to chat with this hostile old lady. "Stop right there." Elder Dongfang wouldn't be ignored. Feng Wu stopped and looked over her shoulder. "If you can't prove it, you're lying. Do you know the consequences of doing that?" Before she could go on, Feng Wu waved her hand, and a small cauldron appeared. Chapter 2996, Greed. Elder Dongfang frowned. "What are you doing?" Feng Wu said matter-of-factly, "I'm making my medicine." She had found the cauldron in the Imperial Apothecary when she went there with Emperor Wu's token. It was a portable instrument, and it had been collecting dust in the palace, so she took it without hesitation. Elder Dongfang stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. Had the girl lost her mind? Making medicine? Does she think I haven't seen this process before? I've seen Ziyun making her pills. It has to be in a refinement room and there mustn't be any noise. The girl was going to do that in front of so many people. Who is she trying to fool? I can tell you know nothing about medicine refinement. Elder Dongfang smirked. A real medicine refiner doesn't work like this. Elder Dongfang glanced at Dongfang Ziyun, feeling proud of the girl. Dongfang Ziyun nodded at her aunt. She then told Feng Wu, "Feng Wu, don't humiliate yourself. That's not how you make pills. You don't know a thing." She was relieved. For a moment, she really thought Feng Wu was a semi-divine medicine refiner because the girl was so calm. When Feng Wu took out the cauldron, Dongfang Ziyun thought she had revealed the fact that she was only as capable as a student could be. "What do you mean she doesn't know a thing? Xiao Wu has been a supreme-level medicine refiner for a long time." Feng Sun finally broke free. He pulled the rag out of his mouth and shouted at Dongfang Ziyun. Dongfang Ziyun only shook her head. "Feng Sun, stop bragging. I'm a genius, and I only became a supreme-level medicine refiner at 20. As for her," Feng Sun said, "Xiao Wu is only 14. Dongfang Ziyun smirked. "A 14-year-old is a semi-divine medicine refiner? Can it get more ridiculous than that? I'm done talking to you." Dongfang Ziyun wanted to chase Feng Wu away. However, she was shocked by what she saw. That small cauldron was floating in the air and burning on its own. No, it wasn't like that. A small, colorful bird was breathing fire at it. Dongfang Ziyun was dumbfounded. When she looked at Feng Wu, she saw her putting materials into the cauldron. Dongfang Ziyun recognized several of them. Where did Feng Wu get those materials from? She then saw a storage pouch hanging on Feng Wu's belt. That pouch contained a storage space. Even Dongfang Ziyun's own sect didn't have something like that. Her aunt, who was the most senior elder of the military academy, didn't have such a treasure either. How could Feng Wu have such a thing? Dongfang Ziyun was so jealous. It would be so convenient if she had one of her own. She was so jealous and she wanted to take it from Feng Wu. Chapter 2997. The Pill. Dongfang Ziyun wasn't the only one who felt that way. Many people stared at Feng Wu's storage pouch in jealousy. Feng Sun smirked. That's from Boss Jun, and it has his personal inscriptions on it. Do you want to take it by force? Dongfang Ziyun stared at Feng Sun in disbelief. If the pouch had the crown prince's personal inscriptions on it, he would know when the pouch was taken by force. Dongfang Ziyun was even more jealous. She stared at Feng Wu. What's your relationship with His Royal Highness? Feng Wu ignored her. She was concentrating on her refinement process. The semi-divine enhancement liquid wasn't that easy to make, but the process had been shortened significantly after her improvement the night before. Little Phoenix breathed fire at the cauldron, and Feng Wu adjusted the materials. Their work was in perfect harmony. Dongfang Ziyun couldn't watch anymore. You look the part. She smirked at Feng Wu. Unfortunately, you can't pretend forever. The others were going to leave at first because they didn't want to waste their time watching Feng Wu. However, Dongfang Ziyun decided to stay because of His Royal Highness. It was common knowledge in the fortress that she was in love with the crown prince. When Dongfang Ziyun learned of Feng Wu and Jun Lingyuan's relationship, all she wanted was to defeat Feng Wu. She wanted to destroy Feng Wu forever. Dongfang Ziyun stopped her aunt. If she's bold enough to make her medicine, let's give her a chance. She then whispered in her aunt's ear, she's so pretty that it makes me uneasy. Please help me. She's obviously bluffing. If we leave now, we'll look like we're afraid of her, as if she really is a semi-divine medicine refiner. Aunt, we can't leave. Let's stay here and see what she can make. Once we have proof that she's bluffing, we can laugh at her and spread the news. Her reputation will be ruined. Aunt, please help me. Dongfang Ziyun held her aunt's arm and pleaded. Elder Dongfang knew what Dongfang Ziyun wanted and that she was in love with the crown prince. She would like to help her niece. If Dongfang Ziyun could marry the crown prince, it would benefit the shadowless sect greatly. At that thought, Elder Dongfang nodded. All right, let's wait and see. Somebody had fetched 2 chairs for the 2 elders. Since Elder Dongfang wasn't leaving, nor would Elder Helion. He didn't want to seem weaker than the military academy. Deep down, he wished he were somewhere else. Elder Dongfang would sneer at him from time to time, making him rather embarrassed. Elder Helion had just sat down, when Feng Wu said, "It's done." With a wave of her hand, the aroma of medicine filled the air. Chapter 2998. Can't be real. It's done. Dongfang Ziyun was resting her head on her aunt's knees and yawned. She had been about to take a nap when she heard those baffling words. What did she mean? Who was she trying to fool? She looked at Feng Wu in annoyance. If I'm not a supreme-level medicine refiner, she might actually. What's that smell? Dongfang Ziyun took a deep breath, and her nostrils were filled with the aroma. That was... The shadowless sect might not be a treasure trove, but they had accumulated some semi-divine pills. Her master had shown them to her once, and their aroma was very similar to what she was smelling now. Dongfang Ziyun thought, can she even mimic the smell? Ziyun. Elder Dongfang also noticed the scent. She nudged her niece, telling her to check it out. Dongfang Ziyun's stomach lurched. She had a bad feeling about this. She told herself, no, it can't be. How can a 14-year-old make a semi-divine enhancement pill in such a short time? Even my master can't do that. She rushed toward Feng Wu, trying to see what was going on. She arrived just in time to see the round pill. The semi-divine pills had special marks and a golden glow. They couldn't be faked. Hence, Dongfang Ziyun felt she would lose her mind when she saw it. She stared at the pill in the cauldron. What? No. Gosh. She was so shocked that she couldn't form a coherent sentence. She tried several times before she could say, you played a trick, didn't you? You put a pill in the cauldron when we weren't looking. Dongfang Ziyun shrieked like a crazy person. It couldn't be real. It had to be a trick. If Feng Wu had really made that pill, Dongfang Ziyun and her aunt would look like idiots. Dongfang Ziyun glared at Feng Wu, hoping to hear that it was a joke. But Feng Wu never even looked at her. Smack! Dongfang Ziyun felt as if she had been slapped. She was so scared that she had lost control, but her opponent didn't even look at her. She felt like a clown. Ziyun, what's going on? Elder Dongfang rose to her feet. She didn't seem too happy. Seeing her niece's reaction, Elder Dongfang knew something was wrong. "Aunt, it can't be real. It can't be." Dongfang Ziyun waved her hands in the air, unable to form a full sentence. Nobody knew what she was talking about. Elder Dongfang didn't know what Dongfang Ziyun was trying to say. She slammed her staff down and glared at Dongfang Ziyun. "Speak like a normal person." Chapter 2999. Stop. It's a semi-divine enhancement pill. Dongfang Ziyun ground her teeth. There's a semi-divine enhancement pill in that cauldron. What? Elder Dongfang finally realized how serious it was. She rushed toward Feng Wu and stopped a few steps away from the cauldron. She stared at the little cauldron and saw a pill floating out. It's a semi-divine enhancement pill. It really is. Elder Dongfang felt like she had been punched in the face, and her temples throbbed. Elder Helian followed her. His eyes widened when he saw the pill. How crazy had this world become? Dongfang Ziyun wouldn't believe it. She switched it. Think about what you saw. She switched this semi-divine pill with what she made, right? She would rather die than believe a 14-year-old could do that. Switch pills. Elder Helian searched his memory and realized he hadn't been paying attention to the process, so he didn't see if Feng Wu had done that. He turned to Elder Wu. "Did you see it?" Elder Wu shook his head. "No, she didn't switch pills. I was watching her the whole time." Dongfang said, "No, she must have. I'm sure of it." Elder Dongfang wasn't paying attention either. No one paid attention to Feng Wu, who was supposed to be useless. Elder Dongfang couldn't give an answer either. "You people are unbelievable." Feng Sun smirked because he had seen the process and knew that Feng Wu had made it on her own. He hadn't said anything because he was also shocked. Finally, he could think again. Feng Sun gloated at Dongfang Ziyun. "Xiao Wu made a semi-divine enhancement pill in front of everybody, but you're saying she switched the pills. Do you hear how ridiculous you sound?" Dongfang Ziyun ground her teeth but couldn't think of anything to say. Her aunt blushed, but she still chose to believe Dongfang Ziyun. "I think she probably switched the pills," Elder Dongfang told Elder Helian. Elder Helian also hesitated. However, at that moment, "What are you doing?" Dongfang Ziyun stared at Feng Wu because Feng Wu was melting the semi-divine enhancement pill. Everybody stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. Elder Helian cried out, "Stop it! We believe you. Don't ruin the pill. It's more important than your life." Feng Wu gave him a baffled look before continuing her work. Elder Helian wanted to take the pill from her, but the fire was so hot that even he couldn't withstand it. Moreover, taking the pill by force might damage it. Chapter 3000. Frustration. Elder Helian had no choice but to watch Feng Wu melt the pill. "You!" Elder Helian wanted to shout at Feng Wu for being so wasteful. The girl didn't know what she was doing. How could she destroy such a precious pill? Dongfang Ziyun glared at Feng Wu angrily. "You're destroying evidence, aren't you? You're covering up your tracks. Tell me I'm right." "You're so loud." Feng Wu finally had enough and said impatiently, "Are you really a supreme-level medicine refiner? Can't you see I'm making the semi-divine enhancement liquid?" She didn't want to show off, but these people wouldn't stop nagging, and she had to say something. It wasn't like she had another choice. It wouldn't make any difference whether she made the pill in public or behind closed doors. She still needed to give Jun Linyuan the injection later tonight. Feng Wu said those words in the most casual tone, but the others wouldn't believe her. Who would believe that a 14-year-old could make a semi-divine enhancement pill, which would take other medicine refiners decades to make? Therefore, Dongfang Ziyun, Elder Dongfang and even Elder Helian didn't believe her. Dongfang Ziyun wanted to shout at Feng Wu, but she already began to panic. Her worst nightmare was coming true. She glared at the cauldron and murmured, "She can't make it. She can't." If Feng Wu successfully made the liquid, it would mean she was even more than a semi-divine medicine refiner. Dongfang Ziyun and her aunt would be utterly humiliated. Moreover, it would crush Dongfang Ziyun's confidence and break her. The last thing she wanted was to see Feng Wu succeed. However, Dongfang Ziyun watched as the pill melted. Gradually, the brown liquid became transparent. "No!" Dongfang Ziyun screamed in her head. Her eyes were wide open, and she had bitten through her lower lip. However, she couldn't stop Feng Wu. The liquid was poured into a small transparent vial. That was the semi-divine enhancement liquid. The real thing. Dongfang Ziyun swayed, and her knees buckled. Elder Dongfang's maid had to use all her strength to pull the girl up. "Miss!" Shulan was shocked. Dongfang Ziyun looked awful. She was covered in cold sweat, and her face was drained of all color. She was shaking from head to toe. "Ziyun!" Elder Dongfang shouted furiously. Dongfang Ziyun grabbed Elder Dongfang's hand. She thought she was going to collapse. Chapter 3001, Untitled. It's the enhancement liquid. It really is. She made it. OMG. How can she be so lucky? Her eyes rolled back, and she fainted in her aunt's arms. Elder Dongfang was speechless. She didn't know how to describe her feelings now. No one was questioning Feng Wu's skills anymore. Everybody had been watching when she turned the pill into the liquid. That was much harder than making the pill, and no one again brought up the possibility that she had switched pills. Elder Dongfang looked at her unconscious niece before giving Feng Wu a long look. When she rose to her feet, she almost fell back onto the ground. Shuelan immediately supported her with a solemn look on her face. Elder Dongfang was extremely capable, but because of Feng Wu, she could barely stand up. Elder Dongfang handed Ziyun to Shuelan before walking away. She looked so lonely from behind. Despite always keeping her back straight, the old lady was hunching now. Once she left, the others focused on Feng Wu again. A semi-divine medicine refiner. Feng Wu really was what she said she was. Elder Wu had been prepared for this, and Feng Sun had always known that Feng Wu was a special girl, so he was ready to accept the information. Xian Yi knew Feng Wu was a genius, so he believed she could do anything. However, Elder Helian hadn't met Feng Wu until today. What did Feng Wu show him? The old man was having a difficult time accepting this. Phew. Elder Helian swallowed and looked at Feng Wu. He wanted to say something, but he could only ask, "Are you really a semi-divine medicine refiner?" Elder Helian was one of the leaders of Imperial College. Elder Wu was Gongsun Mu's direct superior, and Elder Helian was Elder Wu's superior. He was much higher up the food chain. However, even he was too shocked by Feng Wu to make conversation. Something like this had never happened before. Compared with him, Feng Wu was so calm. She glanced at Elder Helian and said, "Yes, I am." Was that it? Elder Wu was anxious. She was wasting a great opportunity to befriend Elder Helian. Elder Wu wanted to remind Feng Wu, when a question struck him, who was superior, a semi-divine medicine refiner or Elder Helian's? Elder Helian asked, "Are you really a current student?" Feng Wu nodded. "Yup." Elder Helian said, "Why haven't you graduated? It would be so easy for you." Chapter 3002, A Genius. The question dumbfounded Feng Wu a little. She blinked. "I can graduate earlier than scheduled." Elder Helian seemed confused. "Why can't you?" Feng Wu said, "I don't think I have enough points." Elder Helian adored Feng Wu now because she was the super genius of his school. The military academy didn't have such a student. He knew Elder Dongfang had made a breakthrough and was now a level higher than he was. When the genius teenager revealed herself, Elder Dongfang was so shocked that she slipped away. Because of that, Elder Hellion liked Feng Wu even more. He glanced at Feng Wu and said confidently, "Kiddo, there's something you don't know. Geniuses have privileges." He didn't even care what cultivation level Feng Wu was at. She was such a talented medicine refiner that he couldn't care about her cultivation level. She was already a genius. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. "Can I graduate now?" "Why not?" Elder Hellion was about to nod, when Elder Wu whispered something in his ear. Elder Hellion froze. He couldn't believe his ears. "Are you kidding me? How could any new student rise all the way to Class A in less than 6 months, let alone come here?" Elder Hellion had met his fair share of geniuses, but none of them was like Feng Wu. "It's true." Elder Wu smiled bitterly and took out a school report. He had brought the report here to show Elder Hellion what a genius Imperial College had. However, Elder Hellion saw the girl before Elder Wu could present the school report. Elder Wu wondered if anybody could outshine the girl. Elder Hellion read the report before looking up at Feng Wu. Feng Wu kept her back ramrod straight and met his gaze with glowing eyes. "Elder Hellion, can I graduate now?" Elder Hellion looked down at the report and read it one more time. Despite how calm he looked, he was shaken to the core. Holy crap! What's going on? Calling her a genius is an understatement. If she's a genius, Chen Ziyun is an idiot. Ha! Imperial College finally has its own genius. His Royal Highness is an honor graduate of both schools, so he doesn't count. Feng Wu is our own. Elder Hellion had been inferior to Elder Dongfang in the past few years. The families of Dongfang and Hellion had competed against each other for generations. Chapter 3003. His Royal Highness Wakes Up. The two elders had been competing with each other all the way through their school years at Imperial College, and the competition continued even when they both became elders. Elder Hellion had always been on the losing side. But now he had Feng Wu. Realizing he was smiling involuntarily, Elder Hellion immediately put his hands on his face to wipe away the smile. "Calm down. I must stay calm." Being as important as he was, he couldn't let his emotions show. "Ahem." Elder Hellion feigned an indifferent manner and frowned at the school report. "She's all right, I guess." Elder Wu saw through Elder Hellion's pretension. He looked up at the sky and rolled his eyes. Elder Hellion told Feng Wu, "You don't have enough points, kiddo." Feng Wu was disappointed. She knew things wouldn't be that easy. Elder Hellion couldn't bring himself to see the look on the girl's face. He only wanted to give the little genius some pressure so that she wouldn't become too arrogant. However, he didn't want to upset her either. "You still have so many points to gain. If you really want to graduate, you'll have to kill a few junior spiritual kings of the Dongsang Kingdom." "It's easy, isn't it?" Elder Hellion felt like the big bad wolf, trying to swindle Red Riding Hood. Elder Wu tried to cut him off but failed in the end. He hadn't told Elder Hellion how well Feng Wu did in the competition. If Elder Hellion knew what Feng Wu had done, he wouldn't be saying such things anymore. Feng Wu asked, "Can I graduate if I kill 10 junior spiritual kings of the Dongsang Kingdom?" Elder Hellion said, "Of course. But you've only just become a spiritual king and are at Sheng Changtian's level. Don't do anything reckless. Practice your skills and keep yourself safe, all right?" The same level as Sheng Changtian. Feng Wu realized why he got that idea. He read it from the report. That was already a few days old. Elder Wu reminded him, "Sir, that report is from several days ago." Elder Hellion gave him a strange look. Of course he knew that. Wasn't that the latest report? Could anyone make one breakthrough after another in a few days? Elder Hellion ignored Elder Wu's reminder and only talked to Feng Wu. "Kiddo, I'll let you go to the battlefield when you're a level 3 spiritual king. How about that?" Feng Wu said obediently, "All right." Elder Hellion was so pleased with the pretty and well-behaved girl. If it were up to him, he would have adopted her by now. Elder Wu looked up at the sky when he recalled Feng Wu's achievements since they met. Just then they heard noise inside the room. Feng Wu immediately rushed inside. Jun Linyuan had woken up, and the first person he saw was Feng Wu. Chapter 3004. What's wrong? You're awake. How do you feel? Any pain? Feng Wu crouched down by the bed and checked Jun Linyuan's pulse. His eyes were as pretty as ever, but there was no light in them. He only stared at Feng Wu in silence. The look was so cold that it made one shudder. Feng Wu was the first to come in, and behind her were Feng Sun, Xian Yi, and the other elders. The crown prince wouldn't look at anybody else, and his face had never looked so grim. Feng Wu's heart sank, and she had a bad feeling about this. It was incredible. The next second, the crown prince's face was as dark as a stormy night, and there was something very domineering about him. Even Elder Hellion wanted to shudder when the crown prince glanced at him. Get out! The crown prince bellowed at Feng Wu. Feng Sun panicked. Boss Jun got angry all the time, but he had never been so furious. He even shouted at Feng Wu, the girl he cared about the most. Feng Sun wanted to step forward, when the crown prince glared at him. Get out, all of you! He was furious. The air in the room seemed to have frozen. Everybody thought the crown prince would jump out of bed and kill them all. However, he didn't have any spiritual essence or the intent to kill anyone. No one knew what to do. Just then he smirked. I'm useless now, and you won't follow my orders anymore. Am I right? He was glaring at Feng Wu when he said that. It was as if he wanted to drill holes in her with his eyes. Feng Sun was panic-stricken. That tone. Feng Sun could tell Jun Linyuan's mood from his tone. He only sounded this way when he was extremely angry. He looked like he was going to explode. What did he mean he was useless now? Feng Sun recalled what Feng Wu had said earlier, so he turned around and looked at Feng Wu in astonishment. Feng Wu nodded. Boom! Feng Sun thought his head was going to explode. The most unthinkable thing had happened. Boss Jun, the genius crown prince, had been. Feng Sun thought he was losing his mind. He turned to look at the crown prince but only met the latter's smirk. Feng Sun was rendered speechless. I think we should leave. Everybody out. Feng Sun knew how proud Jun Linyuan was. He could never let anybody see his vulnerable side. Everybody had to leave. After some consideration, Feng Wu decided to leave the room and let Jun Linyuan calm down. Once everybody else had left, Feng Sun went to Jun Linyuan's side, trying to talk to him. The crown prince stared at him. Even you are going to disobey my order now. Is that it? Feng Sun felt a chill run down his spine. Boss Jun felt like a complete stranger. How scary! Feng Sun saw blue veins pop on Boss Jun's forehead. Chapter 3005. Immortal Spiritual Fruit. The crown prince was going to explode. Feng Sun immediately said, All right, Boss Jun, please calm down. I'm leaving now. He rushed out of the room, but he could still feel how frustrated the crown prince was. He quietly closed the door behind him. Leaning on the door, he took a deep breath and hurried to Feng Wu's side. Elder Hellion was talking to her. What happened? What's going on? Elder Hellion asked anxiously. Feng Wu suddenly asked, Our principal is here, right? Elder Hellion shook his head. Our 3 top cultivators are confronting their counterparts. No one can be distracted. If something went wrong, this fortress could be destroyed. Feng Wu looked around and saw they were alone. She said something to Elder Hellion, making his eyes pop. What? Elder Hellion jumped to his feet. How's that possible? He's the most talented person in our history. How? Feng Sun arrived at that moment. Xiao Wu, is it true? Has Boss Jun lost his power? Feng Wu nodded, then shook her head. There's no spiritual essence in him now, but it doesn't have to stay that way. Do you remember what happened to me? My ability was destroyed 5 years ago. When I recovered my cultivation ability, however, I made faster progress than before, and my bloodline also became the divine phoenix blood. Every cloud has a silver lining. Bad things may turn out for the good. Hearing that, everybody calmed down. Feng Sun said, "Are you saying he has to start from scratch again?" Onji. His Royal Highness was a spiritual saint. If he had to start from zero. Feng Wu said, "I've checked his pulse. He's much better than I used to be. He won't need to repeat his cultivation process. When we find the match that'll light the spiritual essence, his spiritual essence will start circulating again." Feng Sun asked, "Where's the match?" Feng Wu stared at Feng Sun. Feng Sun suddenly remembered something. "I remember. You used the immortal spiritual fruit." He still remembered how Feng Wu had pretended to be the ugly girl. It pained Feng Sun to realize that she had experienced what Boss Jun was experiencing now. "You were..." Feng Wu was so young back then, and Boss Jun wasn't in love with her yet. She had to do everything. He felt so sorry for her. Feng Wu said, "That's why I know how Jun Linyuan feels now. He needs a quiet environment. He also needs to accept the reality and move on from his grief. He'll be on the rise again. Right now, he wouldn't let anybody approach him. Let's wait a few days. Things will be much easier when he's willing to talk to us." Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. She didn't know Jun Linyuan would be so unlucky. Chapter 3006, 3 Areas. Feng Sun said, "Xiao Wu, Boss Jun will recover, won't he?" Feng Wu didn't know the answer, but she had to comfort Jun Linyuan. She knew Jun Linyuan must be listening to her. Therefore, she told Feng Sun, "Not only will he recover, he'll also be stronger than before, as long as we can find the immortal spiritual fruit." Feng Sun said, "I'm on it." Feng Wu said, "I remember the Dongsang Kingdom has some leads on the immortal spiritual fruit. You can look into it." Feng Sun nodded and left right away. Inside, Jun Linyuan smirked. "Feng Wu, you're such a good liar now." Elder Helian believed anything Feng Wu said now because she was a semi-divine medicine refiner. He said, "Xiao Wu, why don't you stay here and keep His Royal Highness company?" The other 3 elders weren't around, and he felt he couldn't take the responsibility all by himself. He was concerned about His Royal Highness. Thump. They heard something being smashed on the floor. Feng Wu could tell it was a candlestick. Feng Wu rubbed her forehead. Jun Linyuan was the proudest person, and she was probably the last person he wanted to see right now. If they found the immortal spiritual fruit, she could make a semi-divine essence pill to activate Jun Linyuan's energy channels again. His spiritual essence could circulate, and his strength would recover. What she didn't say was that Jun Linyuan was in the worst scenario he could be in. However, he was also very lucky. Feng Wu had added her heart's blood when making the enhancement pill, which was why Jun Linyuan's special bloodline was stirring. He would notice it when he calmed down. Feng Wu wasn't so worried anymore. She said, "Chen Ziun told me earlier that I should stay with the current students." Elder Helian wasn't familiar with that arrangement because it was too petty for someone of his status. He looked at Elder Wu. Elder Wu nodded. "That's right. The East Wing is occupied by the military academy, and we have the West Wing. Our wing is divided into 3 areas, the lower, middle, and upper sections. The lower section is where the current students live. The middle section is for the graduates, and the upper one is where the generals and lieutenants live. To create a sense of competition, the living quarters of the 2 schools are separated by one passageway that runs from the south to the north. That is to say, wherever you stay, you can see the military academy students by simply looking across the passageway. This way, you can all learn and make progress from the competition." A map formed in Feng Wu's head. A straight lane running from south to north was separated into 3 sections. A portal was at the southern end, and the lower section was right next to it. Moving further north were the middle and upper sections. The border was at the northern end. The most capable cultivators were the closest to the border, probably because they were meant to protect the junior ones. Chapter 3007, How Obedient. Feng Wu nodded. "I'll go to the lower section for now." As for Jun Linyuan, Feng Wu decided to let him calm down first while she searched for the immortal spiritual fruit. When she lost her cultivation ability, She shut herself in a room for 3 days before accepting reality. She wouldn't see anybody during those 3 days, and she knew Jun Linyuan felt the same right now. He was in much better condition than she was back then. If he paid attention, he could sense the terrifying bloodline that was dormant inside him. Hearing Feng Wu walking away, the crown prince punched the wall in frustration. Thump. Because he didn't have any spiritual essence, the punch did very little damage. Before, that punch would have destroyed the entire upper section, but now, he couldn't even shake the wall. Instead, he scraped his knuckles on the wall. He was so frustrated that he threw himself back on his bed. He could sense the power that was sealed inside his body and was trying to break free, but it couldn't find an outlet. He glared at the door, wondering why she had left so soon. She was never so obedient. He was so mad. Feng Wu had no idea how the crown prince felt right now. She could only deduce his reaction based on her own experience. When she lost her true phoenix blood, she wished she were dead. She didn't want to see anybody and felt everybody was laughing at her. Therefore, she decided to give Jun Linyuan some privacy. Little did she know that the crown prince was tossing and turning in bed. Feng Wu arrived at the lower section. Somebody rushed toward her before she entered. Xiao Wu, Xiao Wu. It was Chen Ziyun. He called her name as he ran toward her. The boy was almost in tears. He was thrilled to see Feng Wu. Xiao Wu, how's His Royal Highness? Is he all right? Chen Ziyun asked. Ever since Feng Wu cut off an enemy's head and chopped the other one into half, her team members all worshipped her. Sun Yu and the others came out to greet Feng Wu too. There were other students of Class A, but they had been in Peace Grassland for a while, so they didn't know Feng Wu well. Of course, Feng Wu wouldn't tell them Jun Linyuan's actual condition. Everybody would panic if they knew the truth. Feng Wu cleared her throat. His Royal Highness is doing well. He'll make a full recovery soon and will be more powerful than before. Everybody was exhilarated. Chen Ziyun said, "We asked around about Night Owl, and they said he wasn't doing well. Maybe that explosion will kill him in the end." The mention of Night Owl's name made Feng Wu angry. That man was so ruthless, both to other people and to himself. Only such a man could defeat the other princes and become the crown prince of the Dongsang kingdom. Feng Wu's eyes glinted. Night Owl had pissed her off, and she would never forgive him. Chapter 3008, Dayless Woods. Just then, 3 people arrived. Chen Ziyun, one of them said. Chen Ziyun turned around and saw he knew 2 of the 3 people. One was senior brother Min, who had explained to him how the competition worked. The other one was senior sister Lan, that unfriendly graduate. He didn't know the third person, but that person held a sword and behaved rather aloof. However, senior sister Lan respected him, and he seemed to think very highly of himself. Chen Ziyun walked up to them. He soon came back and asked Feng Wu, "Xiao Wu, they're holding a hunt. Would you like to join us?" A hunt? Feng Wu's first reaction was to say no. She didn't have that kind of time now. Chen Ziyun said, "It's not what you think. We're hunting the people of the Dongsang kingdom." What? Feng Wu was perplexed. Chen Ziyun said, "We usually go in teams of 5. A little to the west of the border is the Dayless Woods. Do you remember the arena? It's in the middle of the borders." Feng Wu nodded. Chen Ziyun said, "To the left of the arena is the vast grassland, and the Dayless Woods is on the right." Feng Wu thought about it. Why did that name sound so familiar? Where had she heard it before? It sounded like an important name. Feng Wu searched her memory. Chen Ziyun didn't notice her reaction and went on with the explanation. At the center of the Dayless Woods is an erupting volcano. The crater is small, but the eruption is quite powerful. The Dayless Woods is about 6,000 square kilometers in size. Half of it is in the Junhua Empire, and the other half is in the Dongsang Kingdom. 6,000 square kilometers was about the size of a city. Because it's a good place to hide, teams of both sides often fight there, ambushing and assassinating one another. It's a great opportunity to win rewards. The Dalis Woods is divided into 3 circles. Current students like us can only stay in the outer circle, but look. Chin Ziyun pointed at the 3 people. Their previous teammates are injured, and they need more people. If we go with them, we can enter the middle ring. Most people fighting there are spiritual kings. Xiao Wu, shall we give it a go? Feng Wu wasn't interested in hunting the Dongsang people. After all, she hadn't been there during the war 14 years ago. A thought suddenly struck her. The Dalis Woods. That name. She finally remembered where she had heard it. She had caught 5 spies in the secret essence mine, and when she interrogated them with her potion, they mentioned the immortal spiritual fruit. That was right. They had been mumbling a little, but Feng Wu recalled it now. It was the Dalis Woods. The second immortal spiritual fruit was in the Dalis Woods. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. She forgot about the living quarters and told Chin Ziyun, "Let's go to the Dalis Woods right now." Chapter 3009. We're not going. The other students envied Feng Wu and Chin Ziyun as they watched them leave. Sun Yu and the other team members all sighed inwardly. They had been to Peace Grassland several times, but they weren't spiritual kings yet. Even if they entered the Dalis Woods, they could only stay in the outer ring. Neither the Junwo Empire nor the Dongsang Kingdom was interested in killing current students. Maybe the bosses had made some sort of an agreement. One wouldn't receive any rewards for killing cultivators with much lower cultivation levels. Not only that, their current achievements would also be deducted. If they lost too many points, their military rankings would drop. No one would do such things unless they really hated somebody. It was to protect the current students. Therefore, current students were mostly ignored in Peace Grassland. Spiritual kings were the chief fighters during this war. Feng Wu and her team headed for the Dalis Woods. There were 5 of them. The first one was the short-tempered senior sister Lan, a level 3 spiritual king. The second one was the good-natured senior brother Min, a level 2 spiritual king. The third one was Chin Ziyun, a level 1 spiritual king. The fourth one was Feng Wu, a peak level 2 spiritual king. Feng Wu was curious when she saw senior sister Lan fawning on the proud senior student. "He's the only level 4 spiritual king on our team," Chin Ziyun whispered. Senior sister Lan frowned when she heard their murmurs. She turned around, glaring at Feng Wu. "Let me be clear." Feng Wu was perplexed. Senior sister Lan walked up to Feng Wu and looked down at her. "You're on this team as an exception. If we weren't in need of 2 members, you would never have been allowed to come." Feng Wu sighed. Chen Ziyun didn't like her tone. "Senior sister Lan, Xiao Wu is very capable. Back then in the arena..." Senior sister Lan glared at Feng Wu. "If you hadn't shown your little tricks in the fights, you wouldn't be qualified to come with us. I didn't participate in the battle. If I did, you wouldn't stand a chance." Senior sister Lan said arrogantly. Chen Ziyun was speechless. It wasn't like that. Although senior sister Lan was a spiritual king, she was over 20 years old and couldn't fight in that battle. Xiao Wu was only 14. Senior sister Lan said, "I'm level 3, and you're only level 2. Once we get there, you must follow my instructions." Chin Ziyun thought, why would a level 3 spiritual king brag about herself in front of a peak level 2 spiritual king? Why is she so arrogant? He wanted to talk back to senior sister Lan, but Feng Wu tugged at his sleeve and shook her head. Chen Ziyun decided to stand up for Feng Wu. "Senior sister Lan, if you're behaving this way, we won't go with you." Senior sister Lan found those words idiotic. "Are you sure?" Chen Ziyun said, "Yes. We're not going. You can find your own teammates." Senior sister Lan's face turned livid. Chapter 3010, Battle in the Dalis Woods. The level 4 senior brother cast a stern look at senior sister Lan. "You talk too much." Senior sister Lan immediately stopped talking. She gave Feng Wu a dirty look before going to stand next to the senior brother. Senior brother Min tried to mediate. He told Chen Ziyun, "We've already entered the outer ring, and you've paid your entrance fee. It'll be such a waste if you go back empty-handed. He then lowered his voice and pointed at the unapproachable teenager. That's senior brother Ing. With his help, we can gain a lot of points. You won't come across such an opportunity every day. Feng Wu was here for the immortal spiritual fruit and couldn't care less about senior sister Lan's attitude. She nodded at Chen Ziyun. Let's go. Hearing that, Chen Ziyun didn't have any more objections. However, he decided to follow Feng Wu closely so that senior sister Lan wouldn't disrespect her again. They headed for the middle ring. They would run into other students, magical beasts and even assassins of the Dongsang Kingdom from time to time, but senior brother Ing ignored all of them. He seemed to have a specific target for this trip. They marched on without taking any breaks. A few hours later, they finally reached the middle ring. The deeper they went into the woods, the denser the trees became. Above them were layers upon layers of canopy. The leaves blocked out most of the sunlight. All of a sudden, thud! They heard a small noise nearby. Senior brother Ing stopped. Who's there? No one saw how he moved, but when they could see him again, he was holding someone in his hand. I'm from the Junwo Empire, too. Don't kill me. It was a familiar voice. Feng Wu raised her eyebrows. Wasn't that Sheng Changtian? As soon as he heard the language of the Junwo Empire and sensed the familiar spiritual essence, senior brother Ing threw senior brother Ing to the ground. Why are you sneaking around? Poor Sheng Changtian. He had been so arrogant during the competition against Imperial College. Senior brother Ing threw him to the ground like a rag doll, but he didn't dare say a word. For more people showed up before he could do anything. Chun, are you all right? Ing Yuan, how dare you attack a man from the military academy? Two people spoke at the same time. One of them was a pretty fair-skinned girl with big eyes. The other person's face had turned livid. Feng Wu could tell he was the most capable member of the team and possibly the team leader. She was right. That young man was Song Yao, the leader of Xing Changqian's team. Imperial College and Military Academy had always had a competitive relationship. When fighting the Dongsang Kingdom, they would join hands. However, when it didn't concern the Dongsang Kingdom, they would turn on each other. The two schools weren't allowed to compete head-on in Peace Grassland, but they were allowed to compete in their military rankings and the rewards they received. The competition had been quite intense. Ing Yuan and Song Yao glared at each other. Chapter 30:11. Is she here? Feng Wu frowned when she saw their reactions. She asked Chen Ziyun, do we earn rewards if we defeat the people of the military academy? Chen Ziyun shook his head. No. That only happens when we defeat the people of the Dongsang Kingdom. Feng Wu said, aren't we here to earn rewards? If we can't get anything out of a battle, why should we bother to fight? Why don't we beat each other up in the fortress? That was right. At hearing that, everybody calmed down and no longer wanted to cut their opponent's throat. Song Yao glanced at Ing Yuan. We won't help you if you run into danger here. Let's go. He led the other 4 team members into the woods. Senior sister Lan smirked. Help us? They'll be the ones who need help. Their journey resumed. Feng Wu observed her surroundings and memorized all the paths they had taken. It was vital that she didn't lose her way in the woods. Senior sister Lan looked back at Feng Wu and smirked. She told senior brother Min, do you see what that fool is doing? She's trying to memorize the routes. Doesn't she know how complicated the terrain is? No one can remember what paths they've taken. Senior brother Min felt embarrassed and didn't want to reply. However, senior sister Lan wouldn't stop talking. I can't believe how stupid she is. Doesn't she know we have a built-in compass in our armband? We can walk out of the Dayless Woods just by following it. Instead, she's using her brain. She's hopeless. Senior sister Lan was hostile toward Feng Wu because she was jealous of the girl. Feng Wu raised an eyebrow. What if the armband is broken? Don't make me laugh. How can it be broken? Senior sister Lan found that suggestion idiotic. Feng Wu asked Chen Ziyun, do we have a repair service office for the armbands? Chen Ziyun said, yes. It's in the exchange office. Feng Wu glanced at senior sister Lan, who looked like she was being choked and couldn't say a word. Soon she sneered at Feng Wu. Only people with low cultivation levels like you will get caught and break your armband. Senior cultivators like us will never let that happen. Feng Wu nodded and ignored her. She already knew how to handle somebody like senior sister Lan. They always thought other people were as foolish as they were. Feng Wu only needed an opportunity to defeat her once and for all. She didn't need to waste her spit. An essence crystal. Senior sister Lan picked up a crystal from a crack in a rock, looking pleasantly surprised. Lucky. Feng Wu looked at the essence crystal. It was her first time seeing one, and she immediately saw that the essence crystal was denser and purer than spiritual stones. Meanwhile, in the general's quarters of the fortress, the crown prince was tossing and turning in bed. Feng Sun had been eavesdropping outside for a while. Hearing the noise, he decided to pop in and have a look. What if Boss Jun wanted to kill himself? Knock knock knock. Feng Sun tapped on the door. The sulking crown prince suddenly sat up. Was she back? Chapter 30:12 Essence Crystal. It was too late for her to act like this now. The crown prince lay back down and threw the blanket over his head. He wouldn't forgive her that easily. Knock, knock, knock. Hearing no reply, Feng Sun pushed the door open. Meanwhile, in the Dayless Woods, Qin Ziyun was explaining to Feng Wu, essence crystals are more advanced than spiritual stones and can only be found in special locations like Peace Grassland. They're scattered throughout the Dayless Woods. There are very few in the outer ring, and we can find more if we move closer to the center. A substance like this can only grow in the Dayless Woods. Qin Ziyun pointed at the erupting volcano. Feng Wu understood what he meant. That was why the Dayless Woods attracted so many people, and no wonder cultivators always made rapid progress when they came to Peace Grassland. It wasn't a surprise that they were all drawn here. Qin Ziyun said, everybody is looking for the essence crystals, including people of the Dongsang Kingdom. People are always dying in these woods. The weaker cultivators will stay in the outer ring, while those who think they're strong enough will go deeper into the woods. Everybody gives all they can to look for essence crystals or kill their enemies so that they can get their enemy's essence crystals. When one kills their enemy, they can take the latter's essence crystals, and the rewards can be turned into points. With enough points, we can rise to a higher military ranking, which gives us access to more cultivation resources and weapons. We haven't graduated yet, but our points still count. If we can accumulate enough points, we can graduate directly or reach a higher military ranking. We had a senior brother who rose from being a current student to a captain in the army. It was amazing. Senior sister Lan rolled her eyes. This Feng Wu didn't know anything. She was useless. She needed someone to teach her the most basic thing on the scene. She was just a pretty face. Qin Ziyun said, Xiao Wu, you're so lucky. I'm sure you'll find plenty of essence crystals. The crown prince was in love with her. No one could be luckier than she was. Senior sister Lan smirked. Plenty? Do you know how many people leave this place empty-handed? Feng Wu gave her a strange look. Senior sister Lan stared at her. Why are you looking at me? Feng Wu said, Can you move aside? Senior sister Lan smirked. What did you say? For a current student, you're very bold. How dare you tell me to make way for you? Feng Wu frowned and cut her off. You're in my way. I need that essence crystal. Senior sister Lan laughed. Is this a joke? Let me tell you how rare essence crystals are. Before she could finish, Feng Wu crouched down and picked up a stone the size of a fingernail. She asked Qin Ziyun, Is this an essence crystal? Senior sister Lan laughed. She couldn't believe she had such a foolish teammate. Did she just call a random stone an essence crystal? Chapter 30:13 Lucky Girl. Senior sister Lan almost felt sorry for Feng Wu. However, Qin Ziyun screamed. Ah! Everybody stared at him. Senior sister Lan was furious and smacked him on the head. Shut up! Don't you know where we are? Do you want to tell everybody we're here? She was right. The Daelus woods were filled with enemies. If the people of the Dongsang kingdom heard them, they could ambush the team and annihilate them. Senior Sister Lan's smack nearly knocked Chen Ziyun unconscious. He finally calmed down, but he still pointed at the small rock in Feng Wu's hand. It was covered with mud. Senior Sister Lan smirked. It's just a stone. Do you really think that's an essence crystal? When Chen Ziyun wiped away the dirt, the light almost blinded Senior Sister Lan. An essence crystal? Gosh, it's an essence crystal. Senior Sister Lan and Senior Brother Min stared at Feng Wu in astonishment. They both shouted out loud, which showed how shocked they were. Senior Sister Lan was mortified. She stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. You only found a small rock. How did you find it? She glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu said innocently, I just bent over and picked it up. Is that hard? Senior Sister Lan said, You. Chen Ziyun was happy for Feng Wu and handed the essence crystal back to her after wiping it clean. Put it away. It's very hard to come back here. Someone who stays in the outer ring would consider themselves very lucky to find one essence crystal on a trip. A cultivator exploring the middle ring usually won't find more than 3 essence crystals. We just got here and you found one. You're the luckiest girl. Chen Ziyun couldn't stop admiring Feng Wu. Senior Sister Lan smirked. It was just beginner's luck. She's not the only one who found an essence crystal. She thought, I found the first essence crystal. I'm the luckiest girl. Chen Ziyun glanced at Senior Sister Lan and insisted, Xiao Wu is blessed by the goddess of luck. Senior Sister Lan was furious. She wouldn't argue with this stupid junior brother. Reality would teach them a lesson. Ying Yuan frowned. Be quiet. We'll keep moving. Ying Yuan was a level 4 spiritual king, and Senior Sister Lan immediately stopped talking. The members were quite friendly when Senior Sister Lan didn't try to start an argument. Feng Wu suddenly frowned and moved to the left. Senior Sister Lan lost her temper when she saw that Feng Wu wasn't following the path. You idiot! Didn't you hear us? You're slowing us down. However, Feng Wu started digging with a dagger. Before Senior Sister Lan could say anything, Feng Wu picked up another small black stone. Chapter 30:14. Such a girl. A little black rock. Senior Sister Lan frowned at Feng Wu. It's just a dirty little rock. Chen Ziyun wiped the mud off the rock. Senior Sister Lan was speechless. It was another essence crystal. Senior Sister Lan was astonished. She always saw Feng Wu as just a pretty face and couldn't believe she could be so lucky. Even Ying Yuan, who had remained indifferent until now, looked at Feng Wu in amazement. When Feng Wu met his gaze, he abruptly turned his head and looked away, pretending not to notice her. His ears turned pink. The stunning girl had given him a lot of pressure, but he still managed to maintain a nonchalant demeanor. Because everybody was focusing on Feng Wu, no one noticed Ying Yuan's strange behavior. Ying Yuan only stole another glimpse at Feng Wu when Senior Sister Lan talked to her. Senior Sister Lan's eyes were wide open. She stared at Feng Wu. How did you know it was an essence crystal? Feng Wu said innocently, I got lucky, I guess. Senior Sister Lan found that excuse acceptable. She smirked. You have some luck, I'll give you that, but that's it. You can't count on just luck. It'll leave you at your happiest moment. Senior Sister Lan was jealous of Feng Wu, but she couldn't tell what she was jealous about. Nothing about Feng Wu seemed right. Her mere existence offended Senior Sister Lan. Chen Ziyun was annoyed. Senior Sister Lan, why do I feel you're targeting Xiao Wu? He decided to call her Xiao Wu while he still could. Once they returned, the Crown Prince wouldn't want to hear that. Senior Sister Lan couldn't believe her ears. Targeting her? Chen Ziyun, are you blind? Who the hell does she think she is? Why should I be jealous of her? Are you saying she's better than me? Chen Ziyun nodded without hesitation. Yes. Senior Brother Min burst out laughing. Senior Sister Lan threw a dirty look at him. Senior brother Min had always been scared of senior sister Lan, so he immediately turned to the other side. If one looked closely, one would see his shoulders shaking with silent laughter. Senior sister Lan glowered at Chen Ziyun. "Why do you say she's better than me?" She pressed him for an answer. Chen Ziyun was about to tell the truth when Ing Yuan said grimly, "Keep shouting at each other if you want to die here." Everybody stopped talking. Senior sister Lan thought, Ing Yuan is still on my side. As for Chen Ziyun, I'll make him pay for this. Ing Yuan cast a stern look at senior sister Lan, finding her such a troublemaker. His gaze briefly landed on Feng Wu's face before he awkwardly looked away again. His tone softened a little. "Let's go." He was the first to set out. Senior sister Lan quickly followed him. Ing Yuan glanced at her, feeling disappointed. Senior sister Lan didn't know what he was thinking. She smiled at him and said, "It was all my fault. I shouldn't have let such a girl join our team. Let's ignore her." "Such a girl?" Ing Yuan frowned. Chapter 30:15, Targeted. Senior sister Lan deliberately raised her voice so that the others could hear her. "Lucky won't change the fact that she's a weakling. A level 2 spiritual king isn't worth mentioning in this team. She's so ignorant." Senior sister Lan glanced back at Feng Wu as she spoke. Chen Ziyun almost lost his temper right there and then. Nobody responded, and senior sister Lan was displeased. She needed somebody to chime in, but nobody would back her up. As a result, she only looked like a bully who was picking on Feng Wu for no reason. How awkward. Senior sister Lan glared at senior brother Min, but his eyes darted around and he wouldn't meet her gaze. Senior sister Lan was shocked. Feng Wu suddenly frowned and warned the others, "Watch out." Everyone stared at Feng Wu in astonishment. Feng Wu said, "Some assassins are coming from the northeast. They're from the Dongsang kingdom." Senior sister Lan looked at senior brother Ing, who shook his head. Senior sister Lan assumed an arrogant demeanor and glared at Feng Wu. "Can you stop acting? Making yourself the center of attention won't help you with your popularity. We'll only find you annoying. Watch out." Feng Wu ignored senior sister Lan. Grabbing Chen Ziyun and senior brother Min with each hand, she dragged them behind a tree. Thump. The attackers came from the northeast. Senior brother Ying's sword clashed with the attackers, sending sparks flying everywhere. There were 2 attackers, and both were exceptionally capable. One was a level 4 spiritual king like senior brother Ying, and the other one was a peak level 3 spiritual king. His target was Feng Wu, who had become well known in the Dongsang kingdom because of her achievements in the battle. Even Feng Wu herself didn't know the price on her head at the moment. Because Feng Wu dodged in time, the assassin charged at senior sister Lan instead. Senior sister Lan reacted in time and tilted her head. The blade still brushed past her head and scraped off her hair. She only had half a head of hair now. Senior sister Lan hadn't noticed what had happened to her. She only turned around and stared at the assassin in astonishment. When she touched her head, she couldn't believe what had happened. "Where's my hair?" She was so furious that she charged at the assassin. The assassin was equally frustrated. His target wasn't this sword-wielding woman. He wanted Feng Wu's head to claim the reward. However, senior sister Lan was frantically attacking him, and he had to fight back. It was a fierce battle. Feng Wu was struck by a thought when she saw the assassin giving her quick glances all the time. Could it be that right at that moment, an arrow was shot in Feng Wu's direction? She was the target. Feng Wu's stomach lurched, and she finally realized where the strange feeling came from. She was their mark. Senior sister Lan hadn't realized it, but Feng Wu was very certain. She dodged the arrow and sprang off, running after the person who shot the arrow at her. Chapter 30:16, Lead on the Immortal Spiritual Fruit. Feng Wu sprang off. The arrow was shot by a Dongsang teenage girl. She smirked maliciously when she saw Feng Wu coming at her. She's just a spiritual king. Does she have a death wish or something? She pointed her bow at Feng Wu's face and shot 3 arrows in a row. However, Feng Wu moved faster than the girl could imagine. The next moment, Feng Wu stepped on the arrows and landed in front of her. You! Feng Wu put a dagger to the girl's throat. Am I your mark? Feng Wu smirked. The girl struggled but to no avail. She glared at Feng Wu and ground her teeth. Kill me now. Feng Wu asked, why am I your target? The girl snorted. You're a wanted woman. Feng Wu, a level 2 spiritual king. Your head is worth 1,000 points. You're very valuable. The girl glared at Feng Wu. I've told you what you want to know. Let go of me. Feng Wu suddenly asked, have you heard of the immortal spiritual fruit? The immortal spiritual fruit? The girl stared at Feng Wu. Are you looking for it? Do you think I'll tell you? Feng Wu said, you know then. The girl said, I'd rather die than tell you anything. Feng Wu shook her head. I won't kill you. You're going to tell me what I need to know. The girl didn't believe her. When Feng Wu injected the truth serum into the girl's neck, the girl panicked. Let go of me. What are you doing? Feng Wu had enhanced the truth serum, and it took effect much more quickly than before. In less than a minute, the girl turned red and drooled, unable to control herself. Feng Wu pressed the girl to a tree. Your name. Doya. Your target. Kill Feng Wu. Claim the reward. Feng Wu stared at her. Tell me everything you know. The girl bit her lip but couldn't resist in the end. The Crown Prince is looking for the immortal spiritual fruit to treat his condition. Feng Wu narrowed her eyes. The Crown Prince? As in Night Owl? Doya nodded. He's lost some ability. Needs the immortal spiritual fruit. Feng Wu's eyes lit up. A thought struck her. During the battle between Jun Linyuan and Night Owl, the latter turned himself into a bomb at the last moment. At first, Feng Wu thought he wanted to kill Jun Linyuan at the price of his own life, but it occurred to her now that Night Owl probably knew he could find the immortal spiritual fruit in the Dayless Woods. He might even know the exact location. That was why he chose to self-detonate. He wanted to kill Jun Linyuan and use the immortal spiritual fruit to recover his strength. Feng Wu was even angrier now. That Night Owl was abominable. Doya ground her teeth and glared at Feng Wu. Feng Wu said, not many people would know about Night Owl's plan. How do you know it? What's your relationship with him? Doya didn't want to tell her, but she couldn't control her mind. I'm Wu Yan's maid. I won't tell you. Chapter 30:17. I'll keep them. Doya smashed her head against a tree. Feng Wu didn't stop her, and the girl killed herself. Feng Wu knew the Dongsang people could easily go to extremes, and it wasn't uncommon that they would try to prove their devotion by taking their own lives. Qin Ziyun and the others arrived. Feng Wu asked, did you kill them? The others were speechless. Qin Ziyun said, no. They got away. Feng Wu frowned. How did that happen? She had learned from Doya that she was the target of the assassins. Now that they had escaped, they were probably assembling more people for the next attack. Senior Sister Lan glared at Feng Wu. Who do you think we are? We can't defeat a Dongsang cultivator at the same cultivation level as us. They have much better weapons. If you don't know that, keep your mouth shut. You're only making yourself look like a fool. Feng Wu was speechless. Chen Ziyun saw a person who had fallen on the ground, and he went to examine her. She's dead. Chen Ziyun raised his eyebrows when he saw Doya's epaulette. She's a major. She has to be a level 3 spiritual king. He then asked deliberately, Xiao Wu, you killed her, didn't you? You killed an enemy above your cultivation level again. He was reminding Senior Sister Lan that Feng Wu had killed a level 3 spiritual king during the battle. She was also a level 3 spiritual king, so she should stop using that condescending tone. Feng Wu didn't deny it. Although Doya had killed herself, she wouldn't have stood a chance in a battle against Feng Wu. Senior Sister Lan wanted to say something, but she felt a chill run down her spine when she saw the Dongsang girl's bloody head. She gave Feng Wu an indignant look but didn't say another word. Chen Ziyun removed Doya's badge and put it in Feng Wu's backpack. He then opened Doya's bag. Apart from food and water, there was something else. Essence crystals. Chen Ziyun cried out. She was quite a wealthy girl. There are 5 in her bag. A major had to be extremely lucky to bring 5 essence crystals out of these woods. Senior Sister Lan was so jealous that her eyes turned red. Let me have a look. Senior Sister Lan snatched the essence crystals from Chen Ziyun. She examined them, hoping they were fake, but not only were they genuine, they also had a high purity level. They couldn't be fake. Senior Sister Lan was furious. She couldn't understand why Feng Wu was so lucky. She had killed an enemy with a higher cultivation level and found these essence crystals. Not only that, she was also so pretty. How could she have everything? She never competed with other people, but she was better than all of them. Senior Sister Lan threw a dirty look at Feng Wu. What a poser! Feng Wu was speechless. She couldn't understand how she had offended this senior sister, but she couldn't bring herself to lower herself to Senior Sister Lan's level. Senior Brother Ing cast a stern look at Senior Sister Lan. Can you be quiet for a minute? Senior Sister Lan almost burst into tears. She couldn't understand why she was always the one getting the blame. Frustrated, she glowered at Chen Ziyun. I'll keep the essence crystals for now. Chapter 30:18. Your hair. Chen Ziyun glared at her. Why should you keep them? Senior Sister Lan said, we're a team. Of course we'll share the rewards we obtained in battle. Chen Ziyun said, but? Senior Sister Lan said, if we hadn't stalled the 2 assassins, do you think Feng Wu could have killed this one? Do you? Chen Ziyun wanted to say yes but wasn't confident enough. He was still hesitating when Senior Sister Lan sneered at him. Senior Brother Ing is the most capable member of this team, and he should be the one to keep the reward, but carrying too many things on him will slow him down in battles. Hence, as the second best member of this team, I'll keep them. Senior Sister Lan then tried to put the essence crystals in her bag. Chen Ziyun wouldn't let her. He grabbed the essence crystals and wouldn't let go. He knew if Senior Sister Lan took hold of the essence crystals, Xiao Wu would never get them back. Senior Sister Lan was furious when she saw that Chen Ziyun wouldn't obey her. No one would take her orders now. She decided to show these people her authority in this team. However, Senior Brother Ing glanced at her. Are you ever going to stop? Senior Sister Lan was shocked. Senior Brother Ing stole a glance at Feng Wu before staring at Senior Sister Lan. If I were you, I would take care of your hair first. He glanced at Feng Wu again. Senior Sister Lan followed his gaze to Feng Wu's beautiful hair and stunning beauty. She was shocked. Even someone as aloof as Ing Yuan couldn't resist a pretty girl. Senior Sister Lan thought she was going to explode. She had always thought Senior Brother Ing was on her side. However, he had just taken Feng Wu's side. All you can see is her pretty face. Senior Sister Lan snorted. She's only a level 2 spiritual king. If I didn't give her a chance, she would never have been able to join us. Feng Wu frowned at Senior Sister Lan and decided it was time to teach the letter a lesson. But right at that moment, watch out! Senior Brother Ing cried out. Feng Wu reacted in time, too. She dragged Chen Ziyun and Senior Brother Min to stand behind her and drew her fallen star sword. There were many more enemies this time. 9. Feng Wu glanced at the group of people and saw that they were all level 3 spiritual kings, though none of them was under 20 years old. If one became a level 3 spiritual king before one was 20, one had great potential. Seeing how capable all 9 assassins were, Senior Sister Lan was scared out of her wits. They had met groups like this before, but they always fled before they were noticed. These 9 people were obviously targeting them. There was a course in Class A at Imperial College called Basic Conversational Dongsang. The Dongsang Kingdom probably had a similar course. Therefore, both sides could understand a little bit of the other side's language. Die! The Dongsang Kingdom's people charged at Feng Wu. Two of them approached senior sister Lan. Senior sister Lan was so flustered that she thought her heart would stop beating. Two level 3 spiritual kings. How was she supposed to fight them? Thump, thump, thump. Everybody was fighting everybody at the same time. There was only the sound of blows being exchanged and no one spoke. Whenever the people of the Junwo Empire and the Dongsang Kingdom met, they would always try to cut each other's throats. Feng Wu knew. Chapter 30:19. Who is that? Feng Wu knew this battle wasn't like what she had experienced so far. She had to give it her all and kill them all. Otherwise, if they leaked the news, more people would come here to kill her. Ah! Feng Wu heard a scream. Turning around, she saw Chen Ziyun's right arm cut open by a sword, and blood gushed out. Feng Wu frowned. Chen Ziyun had been kind to her and had run around for her ever since they met. Feng Wu could stand it when other people were unkind to her. She could always stop enduring them and get back at them for what they did. However, she felt uneasy when other people treated her nicely. She would remember how they had helped her and would make sure she returned the favor. Otherwise, she would feel guilty. Therefore, she was furious when she saw that Chen Ziyun was injured. A level 3 spiritual king was staring at her with a malicious grin. He said, "What a nice chick." Before he could continue, Feng Wu leaped into the air and struck him with her sword. The blade cut his head open as if it was a watermelon. The Junwo Empire and the Dongsang Kingdom were enemies. In this battle, only one side could survive. Feng Wu didn't stop there. Senior brother Ying was surrounded by 5 enemies, so he hadn't noticed Feng Wu's battle. 5 level 3 spiritual kings made a formidable force. Senior brother Ying wasn't their match and was already suffering many injuries. They are the 2 assassins from earlier. Run. Senior brother Ying was surrounded and knew he couldn't defeat his enemies, so he shouted at Feng Wu, "Don't fight them. Run. Get out of here." He wasn't a particularly selfless person, but when he saw the assassins charging at Feng Wu, he ran toward her, trying to stop the level 3 spiritual kings. The assassins knew he was the most capable member of the team, so they all came at him. They thought if they took him down, they would win the battle. Senior brother Ying was also fighting a level 4 spiritual king. It was so hopeless. Senior sister Lan panicked. She couldn't exert her real capability and was losing ground. She wanted to flee, but she slipped and fell. Gosh! Her head went blank. "I'm gonna die." She saw the assassin raise his saber and strike down at her head. She lost all strength and couldn't move a muscle. She wanted to dodge but was scared out of her wits. At that critical moment, someone dashed toward her. She swung her sword when she ran past senior sister Lan. Senior sister Lan saw the person's shadow on the ground and saw the casual movement of her hand. The next moment, the assassin raising his saber no longer had a head. What the hell? Senior sister Lan looked up and saw the head falling toward her and smashing into her face. His mouth fell on hers. Senior sister Lan fell back in fear, and the head fell into her arms. She was so scared that she was almost in tears. Who was her savior? Chapter 30:20. Shocked. When senior sister Lan looked up, she was shocked by what she saw. That person was... No, it can't be. Something must have gone wrong. How can it be Feng Wu? Senior sister Lan was so astonished that she forgot what was in her hands until she looked down and saw the head. She screamed again, but nobody cared about her. They were all busy fighting. Chen Ziyun and senior brother Min were the less capable members of the team, but they were fighting as hard as they could. Their clothes were spotted with blood. Senior sister Lan didn't stand up because her legs had given in. She looked at senior brother Ying, who was fighting a short distance away. She couldn't believe her eyes. Surely she was dreaming. That was the only explanation for seeing Feng Wu wielding her fallen star sword. She only knew 3 stances, but she cut off one head after another. 1 knew 3. There was one on the ground and one in her arms. 5 men had lost their heads, and Feng Wu killed all of them. Senior Sister Lan trembled uncontrollably. Oh God! Was that really Feng Wu? Feng Wu felt her gaze, so she looked over her shoulder at Senior Sister Lan, and that glance scared Senior Sister Lan out of her wits. It really is her. Only Senior Sister Lan could describe her feelings. Feng Wu moved fast and killed even faster. Before long, the only ones left were the level 4 spiritual king and the level 3 one who was fighting Chen Ziyun. Senior brother Ying was completely blown away. He had been under a lot of pressure at first. He had been stabbed a few times and could be killed within seconds. However, Feng Wu showed up and everything changed. He was very certain that Feng Wu was as capable as he was. She was supposed to be a level 2 spiritual king. Senior brother Ying felt both frustrated and awed. Meanwhile, Feng Wu stared at the level 4 spiritual king and smirked. She deliberately made a mistake in her movements. The assassin saw his chance, smirked, and ran out of Feng Wu's attack range like an eel. He soon disappeared into the woods. He smirked while running away. "We'll be back." Senior brother Ying wanted to go after him, but Feng Wu beat him to it. Senior brother Ying was about to follow them when Senior Sister Lan shouted, "Chen Ziyun, watch out." Senior brother Ying looked in Chen Ziyun's direction. When he looked for Feng Wu and the assassin again, they were nowhere to be found. Senior brother Ying cast a stern look at Senior Sister Lan. Senior Sister Lan cried, "Senior brother Ying, please help us. We can't hold them back anymore. I hope Feng Wu can come back soon." Senior brother Ying sighed inwardly. He had to help Chen Ziyun and the others. With senior brother Ying's help, the level 3 spiritual king wasn't going anywhere. Seeing that he would be caught, the man stabbed his saber into his stomach. He would rather die than become a captive. That was how proud the men of Dongsang were. Chapter 3021, Suicide Mission. Senior brother Ying had seen many Dongsang men do that before, so he only frowned and didn't make a comment. "Where's Xiao Wu?" Chen Ziyun rushed over and looked around. He was frightened out of his wits when he couldn't find Feng Wu anywhere. Senior Sister Lan snorted. "That assassin escaped, and she went after him. Don't look at me like that. She wanted to chase him. I didn't do anything." Senior Sister Lan didn't sound very confident. Senior brother Ying hadn't been able to follow Feng Wu because Senior Sister Lan had distracted him. Which direction? Chen Ziyun was still bleeding. Senior Sister Lan said grumpily, "Why do you want to know? It's not like you'll go after them." Chen Ziyun ignored her and turned to Senior brother Ying. "Which way did Xiao Wu go?" Senior brother Ying bit his lip. He knew what Chen Ziyun wanted to do but still gave him the direction. Chen Ziyun dashed off without hesitation. Senior Sister Lan was astonished. She watched Chen Ziyun leave in disbelief. Is he an idiot? He's so weak and has been injured. Why did he go to look for Feng Wu? Doesn't he know the woods is full of assassins? He could be killed. Senior brother Ying glanced at her. Do you think he didn't know that? Senior Sister Lan looked at him in astonishment. Senior brother Ying said, "He knew that, but he still went. He's a braver man than me." Senior Sister Lan said, "He's a fool." Was he? Senior brother Ying smiled bitterly. He envied and admired Chen Ziyun for what he did. Feng Wu ran after the assassin. When the level 4 spiritual king looked over his shoulder, his eyes lit up. Only one person was chasing him, and it was the pretty level 2 girl. Ha! He stopped running, turned around, and charged at Feng Wu. There was a price on her head. Only junior and intermediate spiritual kings could enter this area. The senior ones had been taken to another battlefield. The assassin thought he could catch Feng Wu without breaking a sweat. To his surprise, Feng Wu was swifter than he thought. She dodged the attack and drew out the fallen star sword. They exchanged dozens of blows within seconds. The assassin was shocked. What? He was a level 4 spiritual king, and she was only at level 2. Why couldn't he defeat her? He was trying to figure it out when... What? He stared at Feng Wu in disbelief. She made a breakthrough right in front of him. She rose from a peak level 2 spiritual king to a level 3 spiritual king. He couldn't believe what had happened. Who was she? You. The assassin stared at Feng Wu. This can't be happening. Their battle had been a draw when she was a level 2. Now that they were only one level apart, Feng Wu immediately gained the upper hand. Fallen Star Sword sealed the deal. Ground control. The assassin had turned around to capture Feng Wu, but he became the captive instead. It was practically a suicide mission. Chapter 3022, Blood is the Medicine. The blade slid across the assassin's neck. Blood splashed on the ground. Feng Wu smiled at him, and the assassin shuddered. He turned to run, but he only made 2 steps before the fallen star sword made another cut on his throat. The first cut was horizontal, and this one was vertical. The 2 cuts made a cross on his neck. He panicked. The blood gushed out, and he couldn't get away. He wanted to stab himself with his sword. Feng Wu saw it coming and immediately kicked away the weapon. She also dislocated his joints and jaw. She wouldn't let him die so easily. Phew. The assassin lay on his stomach. He turned his head to glare at Feng Wu. Feng Wu smirked. I know you're here to kill me to claim the prize. Feng Wu crouched down and grinned at him. Phew. The assassin's mouth was full of blood. He wanted to bite off his tongue but couldn't. Do you want me to put your jaw back? Feng Wu smiled. That's not easy, but it's doable. Have you heard of the immortal spiritual fruit? Feng Wu asked. She was asking everybody about the fruit. She knew this assassin had appeared at the same time as Doya. Since Doya was Mu Yan's maid, this assassin should be working for her too. His eyes glinted when he heard the fruit's name, but he immediately calmed down. What a pity. Feng Wu was watching him closely, and he couldn't hide anything. You've heard about that fruit, haven't you? No. The assassin denied it. Feng Wu put a large leaf on the ground, sat on it, and took out a bottle of truth serum. Taro, it's time to take your medicine. Feng Wu grinned. How do you know my name? The assassin could speak the Junwo Empire's language well. Feng Wu only said that name as a joke. Once the truth serum was used on Taro, he had to tell Feng Wu everything he knew. Other people wouldn't understand it because he was speaking his own language now. Immortal spiritual fruit. No. In the central area. Miss Muin collecting it. For the crown prince. You're wanted. Your blood is our medicine. Feng Wu frowned. Why is my blood a medicine? She stared at Taro. Divine Phoenix blood. Miss Muyen says, change your blood. Feng Wu's stomach lurched. That was why all these people were coming after her. Somebody had told the Dongsang Kingdom about her divine phoenix blood. Who could it be? She had come here on short notice, and most people in Peace Grassland didn't know she had the divine phoenix blood. Even Elder Hellion might not know. How did the Dongsang Kingdom know? Who leaked the information? A thought struck Feng Wu. Could it be her? Chapter 3023, Level 3 Spiritual King. Who told you about my divine phoenix blood? Feng Wu stared at Taro. Taro didn't want to tell her, but the truth serum was too potent. His throat trembled and he eventually said, I don't know. A girl from Junwu? Shan Jingfei. Feng Wu had expected to hear Zhuo Qinghuan's name, but it turned out to be Shan Jingfei. Zhuo Qinghuan must have told Shan Jingfei what happened, and Shan Jingfei leaked the information to the Dongsang Kingdom. Feng Wu took a deep breath. Jun Linyuan could give his life away for this empire, but these women had sided with their enemy because of their jealousy. Damn them. Where's Mu Yan? Feng Wu asked the most important question. Taro shook his head and fell silent. He was dead. She couldn't get any more information out of him. Just then she heard footsteps coming from a short distance away. Xiao Wu. It was Qin Ziyun. He rushed to her side as soon as he spotted her. Are you all right? He then noticed the dead level 4 spiritual king. What a shock! Chen Ziyun was too astonished to speak. Chen Ziyun pointed at the man who had bled to death. He was the level 4 spiritual king who had almost slaughtered them. He didn't cover his face, so it was easy to recognize him. Feng Wu said, "He's dead." Chen Ziyun stared at her. "Did you?" Feng Wu nodded. "I killed him." Chen Ziyun said, "Aren't you a level 2 spiritual king?" Feng Wu smiled at him. "Are you sure about that?" Chen Ziyun said, "Only. Are you level 3 now?" Feng Wu said, "Yes." Chen Ziyun couldn't believe it. It had been minutes since they parted, and she made a breakthrough again. Who was this girl? Chen Ziyun already thought very highly of Feng Wu, but she could still surprise him. What could he do? Nothing. Seeing that Chen Ziyun's arms were bleeding, Feng Wu gave him a bottle of pills. "Take this and smear something on your wounds. You can keep the rest since you seem to be prone to injuries." Chen Ziyun was shocked again when he saw the pills. They were supreme level pills. Supreme level. He then remembered Feng Wu was a semi-divine medicine refiner and understood why she could give away supreme level pills. She was such a great patron. The tiniest thing she gave him was worth bragging about for the rest of his life. Chen Ziyun was mortified when he remembered he used to be her team leader. However, he was thick-skinned enough to accept that fact. Chen Ziyun soon took care of his wounds. The next moment, he ran to Feng Wu's side. "Boss Feng Wu, he was a commander. He's quite valuable." Chen Ziyun took out Taro's badge and put it in Feng Wu's backpack. He then opened Taro's bag. Jackpot! Chen Ziyun's eyes lit up. Chapter 30:24 Points. There were 15 essence crystals in that bag. It's true. The higher the risk, the higher the return. Chen Ziyun took out the essence crystals and wanted to put them in Feng Wu's bag, but Feng Wu shook her head. Not only that, she also took out Doya's badge and essence crystals before handing them to Chen Ziyun. "What are you doing?" Chen Ziyun was perplexed. Feng Wu said, "I haven't graduated yet. They were right when they said I was only able to come here because of the senior members of the team. Therefore, all the essence crystals and badges should be considered rewards for the whole team." Feng Wu stuffed everything in Chen Ziyun's bag. Chen Ziyun's eyes widened. "Do you know how many points these things are worth?" Feng Wu didn't. To become a major, you need 6,000 points, and a lieutenant colonel needs 36,000 points. One major's badge is worth 600 points, and a lieutenant colonel's is worth 3,600 points. You can keep the essence crystals for your cultivation or exchange them for points. Each one is worth 100 points. You have 1 major's and 1 lieutenant colonel's badge and 22 essence crystals. They're worth 6,400 points in total. You can become a major. It was very hard for ordinary people to obtain a higher military ranking, but Feng Wu was very capable, though a lieutenant colonel was too expensive. If Feng Wu went all out, she could become a major. Here in Peace Grassland, one's military ranking could determine the type of cultivation resources they could get and the level of the teams they could join. With a higher ranking, one had a higher chance of survival. Therefore, no one ever gave away their points. You found these on your own. They won't say anything even if you keep them. Chen Ziyun felt sorry for her. Feng Wu shook her head. "They're just things. I don't want to owe anybody anything. Just share them among the team members." She then said, "You should go with them. It's getting too dangerous for you to stay here." She knew she was the assassin's target. If she went with her team, she would only endanger their lives. She decided to go on her own. Chen Ziyun didn't know her plan. He still wanted to say something when Feng Wu shook her head. "You should leave. I'm going to the central area to find the immortal spiritual fruit." Feng Wu patted Chen Ziyun's shoulder and ran out of sight. The central area? Chen Ziyun felt his hair stand up. Gosh! The central area? He had no choice but to return to his team. Senior Sister Lan was astonished to see him. "You're alive. Where's Feng Wu? She's not dead, is she?" Chen Ziyun glared at her. Are you blind or stupid? Didn't you see Xiao Wu kill all those assassins? If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't still have a head on your neck. Wake up. You. Senior Sister Lan didn't know what to say. Chen Ziyun said, how could Xiao Wu be killed? She's more powerful than a level 4 spiritual king. Chapter 30-25. I give up. I don't believe you. Senior Sister Lan snorted. See for yourself. Chen Ziyun took out his backpack and showed them the badges and essence crystals. So many. Senior Sister Lan frowned. Where did this Lieutenant Colonel's badge come from? Chen Ziyun sneered at her. Where do you think? Senior Sister Lan seemed to have realized something but didn't want to admit it. How am I supposed to know? Chen Ziyun wouldn't let her evade the question. He smirked. Of course you don't. Xiao Wu found it. She killed that level 4 spiritual king assassin. Senior Sister Lan stared at Chen Ziyun and wanted to refute him, but when she recalled how easily Feng Wu had killed those assassins, she ground her teeth. So, she's finally willing to let other people keep her things? Senior Sister Lan smirked. Chen Ziyun glanced at her. Xiao Wu said she didn't want any of the 6,400 points. She's giving everything to our team. Senior Sister Lan wouldn't believe him. She can't be that generous. Chen Ziyun said, suit yourself. Xiao Wu is going her own way. From now on, she'll keep all the rewards to herself. Senior Sister Lan smirked. Fine, she's the generous one. I'd like to see how she'll get back alive. Chen Ziyun handed her a piece of paper. What's this? Senior Sister Lan frowned at him. Chen Ziyun said, you go back on your word a lot, so we'd better put it on paper. You. Senior Sister Lan was furious. Do you not believe me? Other people would have said no, but Chen Ziyun nodded. Yes, I don't believe you. Senior Brother Min almost burst out laughing. He only wiped the smile off his face when Senior Sister Lan glared at him. Senior Sister Lan smirked. You're worried that I'll ask Feng Wu to share her badges and essence crystals, aren't you? Chen Ziyun said, yes. Senior Sister Lan took a deep breath. I can't wait to see how many points she can earn. I'll sign it, and I'll make sure to spread the word around when I get back. By that, she meant she would slander Feng Wu. Chen Ziyun chuckled. Senior Sister Lan, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Feng Wu's patron was far beyond the reach of a level 3 spiritual king. Senior Sister Lan signed her name and ignored Chen Ziyun. Chen Ziyun asked both Senior Brother Ying and Senior Brother Min to sign it just to be sure. Senior Brother Min asked, I feel like I'm taking advantage of Feng Wu. Chen Ziyun said, just sign it. He felt Feng Wu would surprise everybody this time. Senior Brother Ying picked up the pen and gave Chen Ziyun a long look. I give up the points. Senior Brother Ying then added, Feng Wu earned all the badges and essence crystals. I, in Yuan, am willing to give up on these points. Chen Ziyun felt Senior Brother Ying to be a much nicer person than Senior Sister Lan. He wouldn't give up on the points. Otherwise, Senior Sister Lan would take them all. Senior Sister Lan glared at Chen Ziyun. Why are you looking at me like that? Chapter 30-26. Dragon Phoenix Blood. Chen Ziyun said, Senior Brother Ying has waived his rights. Senior Sister Lan said angrily, Are you saying I should give up my rights too? Chen Ziyun said, Senior Brother Ying fought for us. What did you do? Feng Wu had to save you from the assassins. What did you say about her just then? Are you really going to take a share of her prize? Senior Sister Lan was furious. All right, I give up. Senior Sister Lan signed the paper. Whatever Feng Wu finds later will have nothing to do with me. If I make trouble for her because of that, may lightning strike me to death. Senior Sister Lan sounded very determined. Chen Ziyun said, Well, thank you very much. Senior Sister Lan said, You can save your energy for praying for Feng Wu. She didn't think Feng Wu could survive the trip on her own. In the fortress's general's quarters, the Crown Prince had a grumpy look on his face. Feng Sun gave him a tentative glance and racked his brain. Boss Jun didn't seem happy. Boss June, are you hungry? How about? He moved closer, grinning at June Linyuan. The crown prince glanced at him, then looked away, showing no emotion. Feng Sun was rendered speechless. Why did Boss June make him feel like an idiot? Boss June, you have to eat something, Feng Sun said patiently. You can't go months without eating like before. You were much more capable then. Feng Sun stopped abruptly, realizing what he had said. The crown prince gave him a grim look. Feng Sun was rendered speechless. He wanted to run away. How about I fetch Feng Wu? Feng Sun tried to find a scapegoat. This time, the crown prince stopped staring at him. So, getting Feng Wu back here was an option. Feng Sun asked gingerly, "Shall I go get her now?" He backed away as he spoke. He quickly opened the door and shut it behind him. There was no yelling. Until now, the crown prince had been shouting at him. Feng Sun immediately went to find Feng Wu. She shouldn't be hard to find. However, Feng Sun arrived at the students' quarters, and she wasn't there. What? She went to the Dayless Woods? Feng Sun frowned. Why is she so busy? She engaged in several battles as soon as she came to Peace Grassland. And now, she was in the Dayless Woods. Luckily, current students can only stay in the outer ring, or she'd be in danger. Feng Sun was going to return to June Linyuan. Sun Yu said, "No, that's not where she is." A team from the Major's quarters needed some members, and they needed to go to the Dayless Woods. They took her and Chen Ziyun with them. What? Feng Sun's face darkened. Are they going to the middle ring? Feng Sun raised his voice. Sun Yu nodded. Feng Sun snapped. Is she an idiot? Doesn't she know she's still a student? The middle ring isn't for her. Young Lord Feng lost his temper, and the other students didn't dare make a sound. Sun Yu was no exception. Feng Sun stormed off to the general's quarters. Hearing footsteps, the crown prince snorted quietly. He touched his lower abdomen where his dantian lay. He hadn't lost his ability. A secret was hidden there. Feng told him when he was 16 that there was dragon phoenix blood inside him. However, it had never been activated. Chapter 3027, Where's Xiao Wu? He thought, I'm not telling Feng Wu even if she comes in now. The door opened with a creak. The crown prince sat up and looked out the window. He wouldn't look at the door. Feng Sun came in, sat down next to the window and complained, Xiao Wu just won't stay still. She got in that battle when she first came here, and she's in the Dayless Woods now. Not only that, she's also gone to the middle ring. I heard all the senior spiritual kings were pulled out of the middle ring. Still, she'll have a hard time fighting intermediate ones. She has no idea how much danger she could be in. The crown prince had been glancing out the window, but he glared at Feng Sun when he heard that. Feng Sun was so frightened that he jumped to his feet. Shall I go to the Dayless Woods? Feng Sun asked timidly when he saw the crown prince's dark face. The crown prince didn't reply. He only turned the other way and pulled the blanket over his head. Feng Sun scratched his head. He decided to take that trip just to be sure. Feng Sun fetched Xian Yi and headed for the Dayless Woods. Someone reported to him just then. Ying Yuan's team is back. Ying Yuan. Feng Sun's eyes lit up. He had asked around and knew that Feng Wu had joined Ying Yuan's team. Let's go. Feng Sun and Xian Yi headed for the Major's quarters. However, he only saw 4 people when he got there. Senior Sister Lan's eyes lit up. She wiped her face and dusted the dirt off her dress. As for her hair, she had covered her half-shaved head with a scarf. It looked strange, but it was better than showing her scalp. Senior Sister Lan walked toward Feng Sun with her prettiest smile. Feng Sun rushed toward Ying Yuan. He pushed Senior Sister Lan to the side because she was in his way. Thump. Senior Sister Lan knocked into the wall and the scarf nearly dropped from her head. Where's Xiao Wu? Feng Sun asked. Where's my Xiao Wu? Didn't she leave with you? Why are you back without her? My Xiao Wu. Most of the people here were from the Major's quarters. They were graduates of Imperial College from the past 1 to 3 years, and were mostly level 1 to level 3 spiritual kings. Senior Sister Lan was taken aback. Feng Wu and Feng Sun. Were they a couple? Feng Sun grabbed Ying Yuan and shouted, "Speak!" Before Ying Yuan could say anything, Chen Ziyun told Feng Sun what had happened in the woods. He even showed Feng Sun everything Feng Wu had earned. Sister Xiao Wu went to the central area on her own, Chen Ziyun said. I wanted to stop her, but I couldn't. Feng Sun was furious. The central area? Doesn't she know her capability? How could she go there? Feng Sun was fuming. Senior Sister Lan was dumbfounded. What was Feng Wu's relationship with young Lord Feng? Chapter 3028. His Royal Highness likes Xiao Wu. Only cultivation capability counted in Peace Grassland, and Feng Sun's title wasn't all that useful. However, he was still a young lord, and his father was General Northern Feng. No one could ignore that. Can Feng Wu be General Feng's daughter? That idea frightened Senior Sister Lan to death. Chen Ziyun felt Feng Sun was going to break his arm. He lowered his voice and whispered to Feng Sun. She said she was going to look for the immortal spiritual fruit. Feng Sun stared at him in astonishment. Chen Ziyun nodded. I'm sure that was what she said. Of course, Feng Sun knew Chen Ziyun was telling the truth because Feng Wu had asked him about the immortal spiritual fruit before. Collecting information took time. Although he wanted to help Boss Jun, he needed more time. Feng Sun let go of Chen Ziyun and told Xian Yi what happened. They entered the Dayless Woods as soon as they could. Feng Wu had no idea of what was happening outside. Are Feng Wu and young Lord Feng a couple? Senior Sister Lan asked. Chen Ziyun threw a dirty look at her. Don't spread rumors. Boss Feng Wu and Boss Feng Sun are brother and sister. His mother is her godmother. So, they're not real siblings, Senior Sister Lan said suggestively. Chen Ziyun was furious. Watch your tone. Spread your rumors if you have a death wish. Boss Feng Wu and His Royal Highness are the perfect couple. His Royal Highness adores Sister Xiao Wu. Of course, Senior Sister Lan wouldn't believe him. Even if she believed it to be true, she would find 100 ways to convince herself it wasn't possible. Somebody else heard Chen Ziyun. It was none other than Dongfang Ziyun. Earlier, Feng Wu's medical skills were such a hard blow to Dongfang Ziyun that she spat out a mouthful of blood and passed out. She finally woke up now and told herself that a semi-divine medicine refiner didn't mean anything. No rule said His Royal Highness had to fall in love with a semi-divine medicine refiner. His Royal Highness isn't the superficial type that can only see a pretty face. He sees beyond one's level. Having convinced herself of all that, Dongfang Ziyun decided to take a walk in the sunlight. Xuelan kept her company. She just happened to pass the area, and she heard the shocking news. Dongfang Ziyun marched toward Chen Ziyun. Xuelan's eyes widened. If she remembered correctly, Miss Dongfang was pretty weak right now. Dongfang Ziyun stopped in front of Chen Ziyun and bellowed, "What did you say?" Chen Ziyun jumped in fright. He turned around and looked at the stranger. Senior Sister Lan knew Dongfang Ziyun, but Dongfang Ziyun didn't know her. Usually, Senior Sister Lan didn't like Dongfang Ziyun. However, she now decided that an enemy's enemy was a friend. She reminded Chen Ziyun, "This is Miss Dongfang, the best medicine refiner in the fortress." Chapter 3029. Prison. The best medicine refiner? Xuelan glanced at Dongfang Ziyun, who had been proven not to be the best one. However, Dongfang Ziyun accepted that title. Chen Ziyun frowned. The best medicine refiner? Somehow, he felt Feng Wu was an excellent medicine refiner too. Dongfang Ziyun glared at Chen Ziyun. "What did you just say?" Chen Ziyun frowned. "What do you mean?" Dongfang Ziyun was furious. She couldn't believe this man was looking her in the eye. Had they all learned from Feng Wu? He showed her no respect. "What did you say their relationship was?" Dongfang Ziyun asked. Hearing the raised voices, more people gathered around, and all eyes were on Chen Ziyun. Chen Ziyun looked at Dongfang Ziyun. I know you're a supreme-level medicine refiner. Why are you so mean? Xiao Wu's medical skills are just as good as yours, Chen Ziyun said. Dongfang Ziyun didn't know what to say. She knew Feng Wu's medical skills better than anyone else. Because of what Chen Ziyun said, Dongfang Ziyun considered him her enemy. Tell me! Dongfang Ziyun shouted. Fine. I'll tell you, said Chen Ziyun. His Royal Highness adores Xiao Wu. She's going to marry him. Many people were shocked. Feng Wu, His Royal Highness. Marriage. Everybody stared at Chen Ziyun. Dongfang Ziyun wanted to kill him. All the gazes made Chen Ziyun uneasy. What? Am I wrong? I don't believe you. Dongfang glared at Chen Ziyun. Prove it. Chen Ziyun said, I'm telling the truth. Back then, in Imperial College, His Royal Highness didn't deny it, and many people heard it. Hey, LV Haobei, stop. Chen Ziyun remembered LV Haobei was there, so he wanted the letter to confirm what he said. Of course, LV Haobei wouldn't do that. Dongfang Ziyun was an important figure in the military academy, and he didn't have a death wish. LV Haobei said, I don't know. I didn't see anything. I'm just passing by. He dashed off after that. Chen Ziyun didn't know what to say. Dongfang Ziyun smirked. See? He wouldn't testify. You're lying. Chen Ziyun said, I'm not. Dongfang Ziyun said, prove it. Chen Ziyun didn't know how to. Dongfang Ziyun told the other students from the military academy, take him down. 2 people stepped out to do her bidding. Dongfang Ziyun was the best medicine refiner in the fortress, and no one wanted to offend her. Why are you doing this to me? Chen Ziyun screamed. You've slandered His Royal Highness. Dongfang Ziyun glared at him. Anybody who has done that should die. Lock him up. Nobody helped Chen Ziyun. He was only an unimportant student, and everybody agreed with Dongfang Ziyun. Nobody could slander the Crown Prince. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.